Hello, hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm Natalie Communis, founder of the Hallway Space. I'm so excited that you found your way to me. Welcome. This is our second webinar, and I'm so excited to share it with the world and with you. Hurry up and wait. I don't think so. How to turn all that waiting energy into actionable steps to actually make that big break that you're waiting for happen. Okay, well, I want to start off by talking about the effects of waiting on your body, right? You can be waiting to hear how you did for a job interview, or even if it's physically waiting in the waiting room of an audition, any type of waiting. So you're broken up into two different types of people, right? There's the defensive pessimist and the dispositional optimist. So when I say that, which one do you think you are? I know that in the past, I would have classified myself as a defensive pessimist. And I love that terminology. That's a scientific term coming at you with science, because it is defensive. It's a defense mechanism to protect yourself from not booking, from not getting the thing that you really want. It's a wall, right? But the wall keeps you in, and it actually stifles your creativity. It stifles your ability to create. And that's the opposite of what we're trying to do, right? So now I think for the most part, I would consider myself a dispositional optimist. I was just joking with my partner recently about how I find myself like in little loops, like little hamster loops. I'm not in the hamster wheel anymore, but it's almost, she suggested it's almost like, those play trains that are on the track that just go around and around and around. I have a track too, and it's like a fear track. But now when those thoughts come up, I can see what it is, like, oh, here comes that train. And the fear is never going to go anywhere. It's a human thing. So now when I see the fear, it's just like, goodbye, fear. See you next time. And then you let it go because it's not helpful. And it is just going around and around. So you can recognize it and say goodbye to it. So if you just classified yourself as a pessimist, there is hope. And that's coming from an optimist. So I wanted to bring up and talk about 5 different action steps that you can use. And one of the first things that I want to lead with is that I was rereading The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. If you haven't read it, read it. Like, leave now, go read it. It's life-changing if you are a creative or someone just wanting to tap into that creative side. Read it. And I was reminded that our work as artists is what creates the market, not the other way around. The market does not create our work. And even though that can be hard to remember, it's absolutely true, and it's the only thing that's ever existed. So to know that if we're stifled and blocked and inundated by fear and waiting and anxiety, and that's not a productive place, nor is it healthy for your body, because chemicals are releasing, more science. It's just not healthy for you to stay in that state of like perpetual readiness and waiting. And it's that, right? It's that like forward, but you never take the step. So hopefully these steps will actually help your foot to move. So I just came back recently from a 4-month tour that changed my life. I manifested this booking. It was unlike anything I'd ever done before. It was for a theater show that we premiered, and it was incredible. It was everything I've ever wanted. It was my first show with music, so I got to sing. little fun fact, I always wanted to be a singer before I was an actor. So that's a thing. So this was just like, my mind was blown in all kinds of ways. This was the ideal booking for me. So I came home and there was sadness from like leaving this best experience of my life. And I was even in the sadness, I was feeling really charged up. Like there was nothing I couldn't do. I was auditioning and like reaching out for auditions and mind you, auditions that I got on myself because I don't have theatrical representation anymore. So I was really like, I've got this. I'm going to book all the things. This is a thing I will do. So I put myself out there for a part that I really, really wanted. And then I got a call back and I was like, oh my God. I knew it. I was going to book it. I felt it. And then the call back was on a Friday. And then so I figured, I bet it's going to take about a week. So then I waited a whole week. And that week, at first, it was fine. I was like, I know I did my best and it's great. And I did all my own tricks and I took my medicine of like advice that I know to be true. And it didn't matter because I still felt that incredible weight on me. And so I waited till that next Friday and I checked back on the website because a specific casting director has a big heart and is always very transparent with her actors about like, this is where we are, we're casting, we're still deciding. But I had felt in my heart that I didn't book it. And so I cried and I like mourned. And then I looked on the website and then there was an announcement like, sorry, still working together some pieces, looking to get out some answers and some bookings by next Friday. So I was like, I don't know why I've been crying. Of course I booked it. So I put myself through a second week of waiting for an answer that I kind of already knew. So all that week, a torturous week, a frazzled week. I wasn't present. I wasn't in my life because I was waiting for this next thing to happen. I wanted this other thing more than I wanted my life. So the next Friday comes and excitedly I look at not that they would cast on the website. That's so silly. But I think I was waiting to be let off the hook. And so I go to the website and I see that there's a new post. The new post reads, all of our casting has been completed. Thank you so much. We loved everyone's work. Have a great day. Oh, the tears. I think I crawled back into bed. I cried all day. It broke my heart. And then I remembered, oh my gosh, I haven't felt this in a while. I was high on booking and living my best artist life, and I'd forgotten that auditioning is actually part of it. Like waiting, going through this process of, yes, I want this. No, I didn't get it. Yes, I want this. No, it's another cycle, right? And I know that I've conquered my fear cycle. So I thought about how can I conquer this one? And that's where these steps were born. So I think about those 2 weeks that I spent utterly frazzled and not focused. 2 weeks is a long time. I could have done so much in that time, right? And so I think about, we're all like little batteries. Humans are just batteries. We need food for fuel. We need things to make us happy and fulfilled and vibrant. And in those 2 weeks, I was letting myself get diminished. Like my little batteries were just, so then when I got to that second Friday, I was just like, help me. So I think my first question that I want to pose to you, and if you have a writing practice, you can do this week or this weekend, or even right now if you'd like, what depletes you? Actual things, like maybe it's work, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a friendship that maybe isn't that great right now. Anything that depletes your energy and doesn't add something positive and meaningful to your life. So one column in listing what depletes your energy. And then in the other column, what replenishes you. Really specific things, not just like the weekend, even though the weekend is a good answer. What replenishes you, like a long candlelit bath, going for a run, doing my nails, and anything that makes you feel good, make a list of that. Because that's going to be a place that you can go and reflect when you are in the frazzledness of, I'm waiting, I don't know how to get out of this. And you know, as artists, as creatives, we've been called, right? And we're doing our best to answer that call. And I know I speak for myself, I'm in it for the long haul. And I think that's how it is for a lot of artists. And a big chunk of what's missing from our artistry most times is sustainability and how to live a happy, fulfilled life as an artist on your own. Not waiting for, when I book that one thing, that's when I'm going to feel like an artist. When I book that art show, that's when I'll feel like I have accomplished something. That's when I'll be validated. That's not helpful. All those things depend on so many other variables that you're not in control of. And so you have to go with the flow, right? And I think going with the flow, sustainability, all those things help center and ground you to being in your life. Because chances are your life as an artist can be a great one. And I hope it already is a great one. And I hope that we can stay focused on how great it already is. Because our energy, you know, positive energy begets more positive things. So I know that to be true. I also wanted to talking about depletion and replenishing. I feel like in LA and in New York and many places for that matter, there's a big focus on the hustle. There's a lot of little memes like get up and grind and I'm hustling, I'm constantly hustling, like hustle, 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 hustle. And I've been doing some experimenting recently and removed that mentality from the way that I work and replaced that hustle and that grind with slowing down and with self-care. And actually, I've been more prolific in that way than when I was hustling and going. I've also tied that to, colonialism isn't a thing, like the colonizing of our land and our people. That wasn't a one-time thing. We see the effects of it every day. And I think that hustle mentality, that grind mentality is a part of that colonization. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps, you work, you climb that ladder, there's this aggression and this I think some fear, right? That's what I feel for myself. And I think that that's not the place that I want to be creating from, that you don't deserve success until you've paid your dues, like this insistence on keeping you in line and keeping you down, which is a societal tactic, right? Got to keep everyone small, because if people rise up, what will happen? Magic happens. That's what happens. So the second thing that I want to talk about, when you're in this waiting place, it causes a lot of anxiety, right? It takes a physical toll on your body. So I would love, next time you're in that space, to get curious, like little inspector magnifying glass lady emoji. Get curious about what you need in that moment. So ask yourself what you need when you're in that waiting space. You can write that down as a question so you remember. A friend of mine, I was feeling really anxious one day, and he asked, "What do you need?" And I thought about it and was like, what do I need? I need to just take a breath. And I calmed down because whatever voice was like yapping at me to whatever it was, to focus on the future, focus on something that wasn't in the immediate present, was taking me away from this like lovely moment where my friend treated me to coffee. Like I wasn't in that place. I was just like, I'm anxious and I don't know what's happening. But you do know what's happening. I knew what was happening. We always know what we need. And sometimes it's an actual thing. Maybe you need to go for a run because all that energy is a physical thing that's being pent up. So you need to release it. Maybe you go to the beach. Maybe you go for a swim. Maybe you hang out with a friend. Something to busy yourself and appropriately expel that energy. Because if you don't, it turns into anxiety and the fear and the doubts, and then it's too big. So asking what you need while you're waiting and gifting that to yourself, no matter what it is. Because the thing that you're waiting for outside of you, if you get it, I mean, it's a great validation, right? Booking something, whatever it is, it's wonderful. It feels great to get a job, to do something that you set out to do. But to really reframe that and celebrate it as, look what I made happen. I put myself out there and people responded. Like it's recognizing and controlling the thing that you did to make it happen. Because though the control is in a lot of other people's hands, your mentality and your energy around it attracts the energy that you want, right? Like there was a time a while ago, before this big booking, I had coffee with a friend. It seems that all I do is have coffee with friends, which might be a little true. I had coffee with a friend, and I remember we were talking about something, and I think he was booking a lot of TV work, and I was booking a lot of theater work, and we joked about wanting to switch. And he mentioned, he's like, I want you to be happy. And I was like, I am happy. And he was like, I just feel that there's like a negativity and an anger in you. And maybe if you let that go, some magic will happen. And at the time, I really didn't feel angry or frustrated. I felt, and well, thinking about it now, I was. But I had no idea that other people could read that off of me. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm expelling all this fear and anger. So here I am walking into audition rooms, like all pent up and like, give me the job. So yeah, maybe people didn't want to work with that person. And like, think about it. Do you want to work with that person? Because I don't. I want to work with people who love what they do, who want to build for our communities, who want to make work for our communities, who want to tell beautiful stories that haven't been told yet. Like that's who I want to be around. But in order to attract your group, you need to start exuding that. And so that little switch of someone saying, you seem angry and frustrated, and my final realization that that was okay, right? Because anger is okay. If you're all of it's okay, but if you don't know that that's the energy in the room, that can be problematic, right? So I think that all of this waiting time isn't all for naught. Like you can use it. You can wait around in it like a pool or like a humid day as we've been having in LA. It gets to shed a light on what do you want? Because sometimes you want something so bad that it's debilitating, right? So it's good to acknowledge, wow, I really, really want this thing. And that's a beautiful thing. You know that. And you can let go a little. You can let that grip go, because anyone who walks around like this isn't really open to flowing with what the universe wants to send your way, right? And it also is a time to think about what you don't want. it's valuable for both. And those are two really important things to note, because sometimes I've booked things that I didn't even really want to book because I don't like the people I'm working with, or I don't like whatever. And recently that hasn't happened anymore because I stopped attracting work that I didn't really want to do anymore. So I'm sitting here telling you that the power of thought is real because I'm here and I'm doing the things that make me happy and the projects that make me happy. And that only came from really like getting curious. That's magnifying glass lady. Getting curious about why I do the things that I do. And really tied to that is valuing all these discoveries, right? Like it's not silly, it's not superfluous, it's important. And it's actually the real work of being an artist, because the bookings are easy and fun. You know how to do your art. You got that part. It's the in-between time where you really need to validate yourself and value the work that you create, because you're creating the market. The market doesn't create for us. Something to remember. So my third suggestion, and this is a writing prompt for you. What are 25 actual things, real concrete, creative things that you do well and you shine when you do them? What are 25 things that you do incredibly well that fill you up and light up the room? What are those things? And be specific with them. Like I know I can kill it in a karaoke room. Again, because I want to be a singer. Yeah, knowing what parts of you feel good when you share them, right? Like we were in Palm Springs. We took a day trip during our 4-month journey of this theater show. And so all the girls in the show and I went, and my partner came with me. And one night we went to a very old, like classic Palm Springs piano bar, which was super cool because I'd never been there before. And it was like old timey, and there was like 3 people there and martinis. It was just so much fun. And when I walked in, I saw one of my friends. I walked in late because I was late. And I walked in and I saw one of my castmates was up there singing. And like my jaw dropped because her voice was just like, I'd never heard or seen anything like it. Like it was incredible to act alongside her during the show. But when she sang, it like brought tears to my eyes. It's like that moment when you see someone doing the thing you know that they were born to do. It's just, you feel it. You feel it in the room. It's magic. Magic is real, and that's when it happens, when you just do the thing that makes you feel good. And so after she sang, the next one of my castmates went up, and the next one. And then I wanted to go up, and I like weaseled my way in because I was late, and they're like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm part of the show. I'm going to sing a song." And I don't read music. I don't know like what notes are. I can hear it and I can sing it back to you, but I've always felt so insecure. Like, I want to be a singer, but I don't know how to do any of those things. Fuck that. That doesn't matter. This incredible piano player who's been there for years asked me what song I wanted to sing. And he was like, "Do you know what key it's in?" I was like, "I have no idea." And he's like, It's okay. Like, just sing a little bit of it and I'll like find a key. And let me say, he was like a master pianist, because as we started, he was like, "Don't worry about tempo. You sing and I'm going to follow you. Like, you sing wherever you want to go." And so I was like, okay, because I've never sang this song in public before. I just went with it. And I sang in public and the lights were on me. And this beautiful piano player like was holding me with his music. And I don't know, for any of you musicians out there, it's incredible. and difficult to do. And I was I was nervous because I was singing, but like also in awe of his artistry, and I was singing and like it was so much. But it was so overwhelming, and I was shaking, and I was wired with this like, that made me so happy. And so we finished the tour. And so now I'm home and I'm back. And I decided that night was like one of the happiest that I've had in a really long time, because I got to do this part of my artistry that I don't really get to do any other time. And so I remembered that I happened to know here in LA a fabulous pianist, of a friend of mine, and I've been wanting to work with him forever. And it was like, oh, I can create work for this person. We can collaborate together. So I hired him to learn the songs that I wanted to find the keys, because again, I don't know that. And so we're producing a mini EP of 3 of these like classic standards. And they're not like classic standards. They're what I think are classic standards. So songs you know, songs you don't, just songs I love that make me happy for no reason. I'm not submitting it to anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It makes me happy. And I don't know what that will open up, but I trust in myself because I've done the digging to know that when I follow that little hint of, ooh, that's something you should do, I do it. I listen. Who knows why? You just got to go with it, right? And so that makes me feel like I'm in my art, like I'm in my creation. I'm working. I'm making work for other people. I'm getting to collaborate in the communities that I want to be a part of. And isn't that essentially what we're waiting for when we're waiting? Like when you open your eyes to see it, like we're already in it, right? Mind blowing. I know my mind was blown. So along that topic, the 4th thing that I want to suggest to you and to write down and to dream on and think about, what is your dream artistic project? If money wasn't a question, if it was any medium, maybe you want to start woodworking, like any medium at all. What is your dream project? If you just let your mind go, write on that, think on that, pray on that. Definitely write it down. There's some magic that happens when you voice and physically bring into the world the thing that you want to birth, right? It's this like really incredible thing. Writing down what you want makes it happen. It's real. It's worked for me for a multitude of things, and it continues to work for me. So yeah, there's a million art projects that I want to do, and I'm not, I want to do like this installation piece, but I don't work with wood or with like, I don't know, but I have this idea for this thing I want to do. I'll make it happen. I don't know how. And I will say, bonus, I think the less resources you have and the less money you have, it actually juices out more creativity from you. And it's more fun that way, because you have to be more strategic about how you get this thing done, right? Because if I had all the money in the world, I don't think it would be as rewarding because it wasn't as challenging, right? And that's not that like work till you, it's not that kind of challenge. It's the challenge that like really gets your mind and heart thinking and refocused on your why and what you want and why you want it. And I think that that's really powerful to grind on, if you will. Yeah, so thinking about dreaming things into existence, I think that there is a wall between dreaming up what you want and calling it forward, because a lot of times we haven't seen it done yet, right? But part of your job as a creative, as an artist, is to tap into that visionary power that you have. And whatever came up for you when I called you a visionary, that's something to write about. And there's something to get curious about, right? Because I know when I first heard that word and someone called me a visionary, there was a lot of like, I don't know, that's not me. So there's this like innate, like, oh, that I don't know what I'm doing. Newsflash, no one knows what they're doing. And that's part of the fun, right? Artistry is a bunch of people in a room making believe as best as they can with other make-believers. Literally the job. So to take some stress away from, I don't know how to do that. And also thinking about like the content that we know and love now in the world. Like Issa Rae is one of the best examples that like comes to mind. I mean, before the success of like HBO and Insecure, she had Awkward Black Girl on YouTube with like, she did it her, you know what I mean? Like the lighting's not great, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if sound's not great. It doesn't matter if camera work isn't great. Like none of that matters. She had something to say and was gonna make it happen. Furthermore, she hadn't seen roles for herself that she wanted to play. I read one time that she's like, I loved The Office and Seinfeld, and like I hadn't seen any like situational comedies for people like me. And so she wrote it. Like how incredible that part of what we digest now on HBO came from her needing to see herself. How beautiful is that? And that's real. She created real work out of, you know, sitting in her apartment writing Awkward Black Girl. Like it started somewhere. Even Aziz Ansari, like Hassan Minhaj, he has an incredible stand-up special on Netflix called Homecoming King, but that stand-up special was actually a one-man show that he wrote. So like these stories that we have, and it's the most incredible special I've ever seen. Like I've never laughed and cried that much in a stand-up special because he told us who he was, his story. He knew himself. And in witnessing someone knowing themselves, it gives you a little window into discovering a little more about who you are, right? And that's our job, to keep digging so that other people can feel safe to keep digging too. Because when we rise, everyone rises with us. And that's our call, yeah? Lena Waithe, too, from Master of None. She wrote the Emmy Award-winning episode, the Thanksgiving episode where she comes out. She told her coming out story. Like, how beautiful is that? And then she won an Emmy for it. Like, we needed her story so badly, and we didn't even know it until we saw it. And oh, this is my favorite part. She was ready. She came to Hollywood ready. It wasn't like, I don't know what I'm doing. It was a fluke. It was like, no, I have stories to tell. And now she created and EP'd The Chi on Showtime. Like she came ready with her own work and her own stories. And guess when those stories are written? In the waiting time, in the downtime, in the time in between you're waiting for all this magic to happen. That's essentially when all the magic is brewing and can come to fruition. So just being easy with yourself and gentle and reminding yourself that actually this time of I'm not working or I'm not whatever you think you're not doing, there is work being done because you're analyzing and you're digging and you're growing. That's a lot of work. It's hard work too. So there's that. I wanted to talk about the importance of when you're in this space of creating your own work. I think for me as a person of color, as a queer person of color, I am rarely seen. I don't think I've ever seen a story about a queer Los Angeles native, second generation Mexican American college graduate. I've never seen that story. It doesn't even seem like a difficult story. Just any story. Put that character anywhere. So I have like developed like, oh, that's what I want to see. And if I want to see it, that probably means that a million other second generation Mexican American queer women want to see it too. And so in focusing where I want my work to go, I've ended up attracting that. And like, I can't even tell you how, but mainly because I've put myself out there in being vocal about these are the things that I want. I want to work within and for and about my queer community. I want to work in my Mexican Americanness. I want to work in all of my Latinx identities. I want to highlight that intersectionality, right? Not hide it or put it in the shadows, or maybe, no, someone white can just play her anyway, because that's what happens. People write these complex people of color, and then it's like, meh, we'll just have someone else do it. So what's happening right now with ScarJo and playing a trans man? Like, no, not your role. So anyway, that's the importance of really writing your own work, because it's necessary. We need to see who you are. No one has a point of view like you, and we all are waiting to hear what that is. Because the point of view for a majority of Hollywood has been through a male lens, a straight male lens, a cis hetero straight white male lens. That is how we consume in Hollywood. And I kind of think that's time that it changes, right? Because all of us are like hardwired now to see things in that way, which is so odd. Like, that is not how I see the world. And so we need, as artists, to be the mirror, right? To really reflect back and to solidify, what is it that I'm saying in the world? To really like make that wedge, to break your way in. Like, no, this is my specificity, and this is how I see the world. Because that is just incredible. Any of those stories are like the best. And they're the stories I like to see. So I also wanted to say that when you think of those dream projects and how to make them happen, there's power in using and utilizing your community, right? Because then you step up to be the leader that you're looking for. Because that's essentially it, right? We're all waiting to like for this big leader, for this person that we think has all the answers or has the door locked and now we want them to open it. You're waiting for you. You're waiting to tell your story that's in you. And it takes forever. Maybe you're not a writer. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. I wasn't a writer until Josefina Lopez, who wrote Real Women Have Curves. I asked her, I was like, why isn't there more lesbian content in theater? She was like, why don't you write some? And then I did. And then she put it up. Like, it takes one person to be like, well, what is that saying? So I don't know. I'm so bad at remembering sayings. Like, someone should do something. You're a someone. Maybe you're the someone that should do something. And I think when I had that realization of, hey, I'm a someone, then it like unleashed so much in me. Like, hey, I actually have a lot of stories to tell. I have a lot of experiences that I think a lot of other people have had that I've never seen reflected. And I think there's immediately like this rush to like, we gotta get it done. There is no rush. We are always right on time. You are thinking of the idea that you want to put out into the world at just the right time. And it will happen at just the right time. I think I've really been tuning into this idea of letting something grow in you. Like, let yourself be pregnant with this idea and let it live there. And when you're ready to push this creation out into the universe, you'll know. You just know. There's when you quiet down and you listen to spirit speak to you, she'll tell you and she'll nudge you and she'll let you know that it's time. So hopefully this has served as a nudge to remind you that it's time for you to do the thing that you're waiting to do. The fifth and final tip that I want to give you, the next time that you do find yourself in this waiting space, however long it is, I hope it's not as long as the 2 weeks that I waited in. although once I did have a friend who was on a veil, which means that they're basically choosing between you and a few other actors. Sometimes it's just you and someone else. She was on a veil for a gig for 29 days. That's a whole month. She didn't know an answer to this important life-changing question for 1 month. So yeah, sometimes you can't get away from the waiting, but luckily you're an artist and you were given the gift of creation and you can make something in this waiting time. So in this space that you are waiting for whatever answer you're waiting for, every day commit to at least 10 minutes of writing. Set your phone timer, set an egg timer, 10 minutes. Are egg timers only 2 minutes? No. How long does it take to cook an egg? I don't know. No idea. Anyway, do people have egg timers still? I don't. I just use my phone. But I didn't want to tell you to set the egg timer and then, like, you know, you write for 30 seconds. So 10 minutes on any timer that you'd like. Write a poem, write a story, fiction, nonfiction, journal, write a play, write an outline for a feature you've been thinking about. Maybe switch it up, maybe work on just one feature in the waiting, however you want to do it. These are all different ideas for you. You can write affirmations for yourself. You can write a letter to yourself. You can write a letter to your future self after you book it. You can write a letter to your future self if you don't book it. You can get all of that out, but do it in a manner that utilizes your creativity. Because all of that energy, we need to use it. You were given this gift and you have what it takes to create something that can help someone else in the waiting. Yeah. I think that refocusing that energy and really creating something that you can be proud of, regardless of what that outcome is, like you have something that you created while you were waiting on this other thing to happen. And really, that's artistry, right? That's when we create, that's when we do our best work, when we're waiting for something else to happen. So I hope that this is helpful. I also just wanted to share that I think that all the waiting and the anxiety, it's all fear-based, right? And it's okay to be fearful, but it's not incredibly helpful for you. Yeah, and also that the things that can happen in this waiting time, like I'm thinking of all the magical things that can come from this, and I'm just so excited. And I would love to host on thehallwayspace.com. I would love to host these creations that you come up with during this time or any time, whether it's a painting or a screenplay or a poem or whatever it is, even just a blog post, whatever you come up with. I would love to host it on our site and get some eyes on your incredible work. What incredible work. I am so honored to have led this for you today. I am excited to see where you go with this. All these tools have helped me so much, have helped so much time that I wish I could have gotten back or utilized in a way that helped me, because really we're the ones that are the key holders of the validation that we're looking for, right? And I think as artists, it's a slippery slope when we're looking outside of ourselves for that moment where we feel worthy, right? And that's the only reason why there is anxiety surrounding the waiting, because we attach different value to what that gig means. Like, when I book this, it means I am worthy. It means I'm talented. It means I'm enough. It means, like, the list goes on and on and on. And those are a few of like what they used to mean for me. Like they were that big that it was like, if I don't book this, then I'm not an actor, which is ridiculous. Like that doesn't make any sense. If you really think about it in like a logical way, it doesn't have any room there. No, if you book it, that's a bonus, fun time. Doesn't mean anything if you don't book or if you don't get the outcome that you're looking for. You get to see that as an opportunity to gift that, whatever it is, that validation, that juicy, yummy love, that self-love. You get to find that in your waiting zone, in your waiting room. And I can't wait to hear about how it goes. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. As I mentioned, I would love to gift you with a complimentary soul hunt session. We will get in there inside your heart and we'll wait around and see how we can get you to that most prolific place where you make all those dreams come true. And I cannot wait to witness you as you step into it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a beautiful Thursday, and I can't wait to meet you. Bye.